unveiling the perceived dumbness of Generation Z. Picture this. As we navigate in the complexities of our lives, we often imagine ourselves choosing between the crown filter or the dog filter on Snapchat. But beyond these seemingly trivial choices lies a generation with so many more fascinating stories to tell. Are we as truly perplexed as the stereotype suggests? Stick around, and together we'll peel the layers to reveal the real narrative. But before we dive into it, let's break down this generational landscape. Gen Z, born in between 1997 to 2012, is our focus. Preceding them is the good old millennials, or the Gen Y, who took over the world from 1981 to 1996. And now we have the Gen Alpha, youngsters born from 2013 to up until 2025. Together, let's slowly explore the notion that we might be witnessing one of the supposedly dumbest generation to ever exist. Our journey begins on a chapter that on the undeniable digital prowess that we Gen Z possess. I mean, we're not merely smartphone experts. We are the architect of the digital revolution. From reshaping communication to revolutionizing education, we Gen Zs have left an indelible mark. Now, let's take a quick poll. How many of you have experienced the awe of digital detox? A day without mobile phones, screens, emoji, texts, constant notification. Difficult to imagine, right? And that's the very core idea of today, the intersection of our digital lives with the real world. And to begin with the first layer of our digital prowess, we Gen Zs practically came into this world clutching smartphones in our hands. And playing Snake on Nokia 3310 seems like an ancient history. But the tech knowledge that Gen Z possess is not a child's play. We have led the way for mobile innovation, app development, responsive web designs, and user-friendly mobile interfaces. But let's just not stop at the tools. Our relationship with technology goes way far beyond it. It's a way of living for us. Interactive and social tools like the 3D printing to cryptocurrencies and impressive experience like AR and VR. Gen Zs are not only knowing it, but are actively involving in it. You see, we are truly the digital natives. Now, let me draw your attention to a similar or a familiar example that most of you might have gone through in life. Suppose your teacher is facing some technical issue or struggling with a smart screen in your class. Before approaching the technician, whom does she turn to for help? Most likely, her students. And that's a small glimpse of this supposedly dumb generation, you see. We have turned education into edutainment. Education has gone from all boring to all entertaining. And how is that? No more the dull textbooks or the forced group projects. Using apps and games like Kahoot and Duolingo, education is completely blended with entertainment. Educational animations, simulations have broken down complex topics into small, easy and accessible ways. And all thanks to the agile Gen Zs and COVID that pushed the notch further. Now, India is the second largest e-learning market. That's estimated to be over $6 billion currently and is going to grow and is estimated to grow to $10 billion by 2025. And that's again a whole online learning thing. So let's not call this dumbness, but a revolution. Now that we've seen a change in the tech scene, let's see how we use the technology to fulfill our social responsibilities. I mean, we can create a positive impact with it. Consider in the 1960s when a civil activist had to circulate an urgent news. He'd probably head straight to a telephone. Fast forward to the 2020s, a contemporary civil rights activist whose first move would be to choose a social media platform. Enter hashtag Black Lives Matter, a monumental social movement that took over the history of social media with over 12 million times the hashtag being used. It's the third most used Twitter hashtag around a social cause. So, social impacts can be created just using a hashtag. Turning to climate change, it's seen that the content on social media discussions have been growing drastically. A statistic shows that over 69%, that is 7 out of 10 Gen Zs, are concerned over the content related to climate change. And to prove this, there's nothing more than the Future Friday for Future movement led by Greta Thunberg. I'm sure most of you know it. She has created a global platform for anybody who's concerned over climate change. Students and activists from all over the world are participating in it by showing in rallies, protests, and in many more ways. Another inspiring example is Ryan Hickman, 11-year-old boy who's a global icon for recycling. And how did this incredible journey start? When he was just 3-year-old, he woke up one morning and decided that his life will be revolving around recycling. And today, and that's the thought that gave birth to Ryan's Recycling, a company. And he's now recycled over 1 million cans and bottles. So, our social responsibility is being fulfilled. Now that we've seen the social causes, let's just not limit ourselves. Another arena where Gen Z shine is the entrepreneurship. We Gen Zs have expanded so many more things. And the statistic shows that by 2030, Gen Z's global income is going to rise by $33 trillion, constituting to 27% of the global income. I mean, we've had entrepreneurs, all generations, from Elisa Pinklini to Steve Jobs. But now, it's time for Gen Zs to shine, and we're doing it with flair. For instance, let's take Mohaz Bridges. He's an 11-year-old boy who couldn't find a bow tie that matched his own standards, his style standards. So what did he do? He took this matter in his own hands, learned how to sew, and made a bow tie for himself. Today, at the age of 20, he's made $700,000 with the same thing. I mean, it's incredible how a small thought can lead to so much more, and yet again, we're called the dumb generation. From India, Raghav Goel, an 18-year-old kid who identified a gap in the market. Amidst the COVID-19, he saw his growing love for hip-hop. And for the same, he searched for jewelry and chains worn by rappers. But he found that the Indian market was very limited. And this gave birth to Zillionaires. I'm sure most of you have watched Shark Tank India, and that featured Zillionaires. Now, let's take a break from this entrepreneurial world, and enter into Ryan's world, led by Ryan Kaji. He is the highest paid child content creator on YouTube with over 35.2 million subscribers. How incredible. And just by cool hacks, DIY, science experiments, and toy reviews, he makes $30 million annually. And you guess what's his age right now? He's just 10 years old. So we see that Gen Zs are creating an innovative method for income generation. But there's something more that Gen Z desire than this. It's being valued and being filled, the feeling of being filled. What we seek for is a balance between professional and personal lives. It's just not about the money and the jiggle. It's about having a life with purpose and passion. So then, why are we called the dumbest generation to have ever been identified or exist? The answer lies in resistance to change, a common trait that has been experienced through all generations. Looking back, we have the millennials, Gen Xers, baby boomers. They've had all their time. And now, it's time for the Gen Zs in the house to add their own flavor in the party. We have contributed so much to this society, and yet again being called dumb is a little not acceptable. So, when we navigate through the ever evolving landscape of human progress, we see, let's just not appreciate the contribution done by Gen Z alone, but also the achievements of generations all over. Because every generation is looking like a wow.